So last year, some shit happened that really got me thinking. There was this beef going on between two men named Aubrey Graham and Kendrick Duckworth, and this shit was everywhere. It was pretty much the modern day gold rush for clout chasers. I'm not gonna go into all the details of all that stuff since everybody's already milked it to the very last drop, but I observed some interesting stuff happening during their beef. In every single one of their diss tracks, Kendrick and Drake were essentially trying to get the public to turn on their opponent. Not in the typical way that you'd expect from a rap beef, but almost as if they were trying to cancel each other. Drake accused Kendrick of being a wife-beating cheater, and Kendrick accused Drake of being a child predator. Since it's 2025, you probably more or less now know that Kendrick won the beef, and people have more or less written off Drake's claims, as well as him having the PDF file attachment to his name. But the thing I can't exactly get behind is the fact that Kendrick himself has worked with a convicted pedo. What's exactly the difference here? So first off, I'm not one of those guys who thinks that cancel culture is the worst thing to happen since World War II. Some people need to face the consequences of their actions. But I think we first have to point out that a lot of these actions aren't exactly equal. Like, it's actually crazy to me that people will group together, like bottom tier people of society, with people who are mean. In what world is Ellen as bad as this real life Batman villain? On top of that, there are a lot of famous and rich people who should be getting cancelled, but aren't. It led me to realize that there's one simple difference between people who get cancelled and people who dodge that shit. It's quite literally just how well you're able to deliver. The perfect example of this is Kanye West. There are people suffering in the celebrity gulag who have done 10% of the shit he's done. The man has gotten away with being an overall dickhead.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
Shut the fuck up.
Being racist twice, and threatening to kill someone, and so much more. But the reason he's still here is simply just because he's him. There's a reason the saying, "he made graduation," is so popular. If Kanye were to kill someone in broad daylight, his lawyers would just use his discography as his defense and win the case in the very same day. You see it with other celebrities too. Like Mr. Beast. At this point, he's just too big to fail, no matter what people bring up. As long as he keeps making decent videos, people just kind of forget and then move on. Playboy Cardi is also a picture-perfect example. He's a deadbeat woman beater who dresses like a JoJo character, but his fans just call that aura. As long as he keeps making decent music and aura farming, he should be fine, right? But as I said, the public are only willing to look past your bad deeds if you can satisfy them. When a celebrity is unable to satisfy their fans, they're about as vulnerable as a kid using a desk to protect themselves from a nuclear explosion. As I said with Ellen, she was cancelled for something as small as being a dick. Since her show was pretty mediocre and falling off, it was pretty easy for the public to finish her off. R. Kelly also had really weird allegations about him for a while, but only when he was old and cooked were the proper prosecutions put in place. Even Drake is suffering from this. People would be more than willing to forgive arguably the biggest artist of our generation if he was just able to put out some good music after the beef. But instead of trying to save his career, he decides to do this. Something else that really doesn't make sense to me is how overdramatic people will be when it comes to canceling someone. It feels almost like those old American witch hunts. Like, ever since I was a kid, I thought that Tiger Woods did some seriously fucked up shit to warrant a public apology. So imagine my surprise when I found out that all he did was cheat on his wife. Okay, I know that sounds bad, but like, come on. It's really not that deep in the grand scheme of things. Twitter and some people online also really seem to hate this one lady called Aquafina for speaking with the quote-unquote black scent. Now, if we're keeping it a buck, I really don't think this shit matters at all. Like, it is kind of weird that this Asian lady is talking like she grew up on O-Block, but there are much worse people walking freely around Hollywood. Will Smith faced arguably the worst witch hunt in a while. Sure, he did assault someone on national TV and crash out for a woman who wouldn't care if he died. but people are treating the man like he was Osama bin Laden. There are a ton of other celebrities who have assaulted people and more or less just gotten away with it because nobody cared enough to do anything. And if anything, he low-key saved the Oscars. With regard to the witch hunts as well, it's crazy that people will scour through someone's social media or past activities just to see something that they can use to put dirt on their name. Something else that reveals the true nature of celebrity culture in general is how quickly other celebrities will stop associating with someone as soon as their name is in the dirt. Like, P. Diddy was supposedly friends with a lot of celebrities, and pretty much anyone with a tiny bit of clout came to his parties. But now, all of a sudden, it's like no one really knew him like that. Ask any celebrity, even his closest friends, and they'll tell you that they weren't really that close. It's the same with our boy Jeffrey. I understand protecting your public image, but blatant lies like this will just make the public lose faith in you. It's also really scummy behavior when a celebrity or influencer only points out someone's bad behavior after they got done dirty by them. Drake and Kendrick were more or less trying to Me Too each other with some crazy allegations that they would have just let slide had the beef not started. The dumbass beef between those two Minecraft YouTubers just turned into a finger-pointing contest about who's more racist or sexist. There are a lot more cases that I just won't even bother with. So, contrary to the title of the video, canceling people does make sense, but it's really messed up how people pick and choose who gets put down. Like, depending on what the general consensus is on someone, the bad shit they do will just get swept under the rug. It just doesn't seem fair. Like, there was this YouTuber who went on some crazy racial tirade, who's doing fine by the way, but people hate Dream just because he's cringe. We really do live in a clown world. But hey, at least I'll never have to see the Hulk tour girl ever again.